Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna give it a little time before I start my first um, live on YouTube. So give it a minute. Literally 1 minute. Okay, so my first live today, we're gonna talk about um, things such as what is an herbalist, what is alchemy, and what is disease. I'm also going to introduce to some, but reiterate to most who Dr. Sebi is. His real name is Alfredo Bowman. He is one of the most renowned herbalists of our time in the U.S. So he was my inspiration, literally, for getting into herbalism and um, diving deeper into my spirituality. A lot of things that you'll hear me bring up that I learned from him over the years throughout these videos that I'm going to be posting. So let's get started. First, what is an herbalist? A lot of people are misconstrued. They think that an herbalist is similar to a medical doctor or a physician, a doctor, period. Herbalists are not doctors. Herbalists are more closely related to pharmacists, but pharmacists don't even do justice to what an herbalist does. So, yeah, an herbalist creates remedies, natural remedies, things that grow in nature to eradicate any type of disease or disorder. So that is what I do. I study herbs. I create herbal concoctions like these capsules. I have sea moss, which is basically just seaweed. So anything that grows naturally in the ocean or on land, those are the things that I use to help people heal. And a lot of people confuse a healer with someone who cures you. Herbalists or healers, we do not cure people per se. We teach people how to cure themselves because your body naturally heals itself. We have just lost the knowledge and understanding of how to do these things ourselves because Western medicine, Western tradition has come in and changed a lot of our traditions, period. So we have lost, it's a lost art of healing yourself, and not just healing yourself physically, not just healing your body, but healing your mind and healing your soul. All three components, your mind, body, and soul, it's very important in being stable, being completely well, and functioning at the best of your ability. So that's pretty much what an herbalist is, what an herbalist does. Alchemy. So alchemy is literally what people would call a dark art. If you Google the definition of alchemy, the first word that you'll see is black. So that kind of gives reference to the fact that melanated people were the original alchemists, although it's now practiced in many different cultures. They practice alchemy. They teach alchemy. I feel like melanated people are the only people who are oblivious to what alchemy is. But you will also find that alchemy is the ability to transform or transmute things. So let's say I have a brass nickel and I need gold. I would pretty much manifest the brass into gold. And the way that you do that, your mind, body, and spirit has to be in alignment with each other. It's not like a magician who could pull a rabbit out of a hat or something like that. No, it's basically you understanding that this is what you have and this is what you need. So you release into the universe. With some call prayer, some call it manifesting. It really doesn't matter what you call it, it's all the same. So you would basically speak into the universe, speak over yourself, basically saying, this is what I need, so this is what I'm going to get. And then you do the work in order to obtain whatever it is that you seek or you want or you need. So that's basically what alchemy is. And the reason alchemy is so closely related to herbalism is because what we do with herbs basically is we trans well, it also has a lot to do with energies. So you can transmute energy. If there's negativity around you, you can block it with alchemy. And I teach how to do these things, which is what my channel is all about. I plan to, teach more openly so more people will have this knowledge and fully understand exactly what they're getting into, exactly what they're doing. So yeah, that's pretty much how alchemy works as far as energies, transmuting energies, creating negative energy into positive energy, or just blocking negative energy, like period, just blocking it. So I think what I'm gonna do is pretty much touch bases on who Dr. Sebi is, touch bases on his practice, and just kind of tell a little bit about how herbalism came about in the US. So, Alfredo Bowman, which is his surname, the name that his mother gave him, Dr. Sebi is a nickname that was given to him by the people that he, quote unquote, cured. In actuality, like I said, herbalists teach people to cure themselves. So I would say that was a name given to him by the people that he taught to cure themselves or to heal themselves. So Alfredo Bowman practiced herbalism for many, many years before even coming to the United States, um, which was probably his biggest mistake. But when you're a healer and you have this knowledge, you have this power to basically save your people. Um, there's sacrifices, and he made the greatest sacrifice a person could make. He gave his life so that we would have this knowledge, so that we would be able to live, so that we would be able to thrive, not just live, but thrive as well. So he came to the United States teaching people to heal. He opened a clinic. And he actually went to court in New York to fight allegations of him so-called calling himself a doctor with no medical license. He went to court to pretty much plead his case, letting them know that he was not classifying himself as a doctor. This was a name given to him, and he's not curing diseases. He's teaching people to cure or to heal themselves. He also brought in paperwork showing that these people had these certain diseases, and paperwork documenting the fact that they don't have it anymore. And he documented how he did it, in a sense of, okay, basically letting people know, like I said earlier, that it takes a clear mind and a depleted body. I'll get into that later. And a um, revived soul. A lot of us have lost contact or just have been separated from our souls, which is the main part of who you are. Your body is a shell, your soul is what makes you think, what makes you feel, what makes you grow. As a person, as an individual. So, these are some things that he was trying to teach to people, as well as plead his case in a court of law, so that he wouldn't, be put in prison for umpteen amount of years. So after this particular case that he won, he proved that he cured cancer, he cured lupus, he cured HIV, he cured AIDS, he cured diabetes, he cured paraplegics. He helped the blind to see. Like, he pretty much cured anything that can be considered a disease or a disorder. He came up with the rationality of what actually causes disease or what actually causes disorders. This is something that the pharmaceutical companies, which is a big part of how America makes its money, other than trading with other countries and stealing um, resources from other countries or taking resources from other countries. Pharmaceuticals is how the United States continues to thrive as a powerful country. Um, so it was a big hit for him going into court or being realized in that light of actually healing people, because with no sick people, there's no need for medical drugs or medicines. So this brought a ton of backlash to him, death threats, just a lot of things started happening until they came for him again and they actually put him in jail. That's when they actually put him in jail for going by the name Dr. Sebi, which he really didn't. It was just the fact that the people he taught to heal themselves saw him as a doctor. In all actuality, they saw him as a god, but doctor is what they knew of a person that could heal others or is supposed to heal others. But we all know that physicians or medical doctors in Western medicine don't heal anything. They basically just sustain the person until the body, the mind, the soul gives out. So he never went by Dr. Sebi per se for himself. That was just the name given to him. But they still came and arrested him for it. He stayed in jail for, I'm not quite sure how long he was in there, but because of the foods that he was eating in there, having maintained an alkaline body for so many years, then going into a place that's not well kept. He would, I mean, being an herbalist is not even really just about healing people in the sense of, oh, someone has a terminal illness, don't want to die, so they need these herbs in order to heal and to be able to live again. No, we need these herbs in certain foods to create an alkaline body so that we, even us healthy people, can continue to grow healthily, thrive, live longer. If you recall, in the Bible days, there were people living to 600, 900 years old. And we wonder why we, we as a people are perishing in our 20s and 30s from um, physical body related illnesses, illnesses that are not really Illness is not something that's normal. It's not something that everyone is supposed to have. Something that um, people should look at as being a part of life, because it's not. So these were the things that he was trying to teach. But I digress. Being in that type of environment, where he himself understood that cleanliness is next to godliness. So being in an environment that wasn't very clean, very well kept, being in an environment where he had to drink water out of a faucet, being in an environment where he had to either not eat or eat whatever it is that they serve people in jail, which did not coincide with the lifestyle that he had created for himself. And soon after he was released, these conditions caused him to perish, which is what they were hoping for, what they expected. And he would tell you, if you go watch his videos and read up on him. I know some people in his family have written books. One of his daughters, his older daughters, wrote a book about his life, what he stood for, what he was trying to do, and what he wants to continue and go on. People have made videos speaking about him. Some of his other children and wives have been on talk shows, radio shows, just talking about his work and trying to help people understand and realize that he did not perish. He did not give his life for us to continue to live in the fashion that we're living in, continue to live in a way where not only are we making ourselves sick, but we're making the people around us sick. So that's in a nutshell who Dr. Sebi is. Like I said, you will hear me speak about him in other videos, because like I said, he's a big inspiration for me, even getting the notion to want to become an herbalist. So back to what I was saying, basically explaining what an herbalist is, what is alchemy, and now what is disease. So Dr. Sebi came to the conclusion. I don't even like to call him Dr. Sebi, but that's what most people know him by. But I'll just refer to him as I normally do, Alfredo Bowman. So what he wanted people to understand basically is, in the forefront, what is disease. Because if you know what it is you're battling, what it is you're facing, you know what weapons to bring, you know how to prepare yourself. So in his research, he found that disease comes from us leaving our alkaline environment and taking on a more detrimental lifestyle, eating an excessive amount of dead meat, um, not exercising regularly, not meditating, not being in tune with your soul or your inner self or your higher self. Those are things that lead to disease, stress, lack of sleep, just things of that nature. So, what these things inevitably do to the body is it creates mucus. We all have mucus in our bodies anyway. I know you've heard of the mucous membrane. Um, so, of course, you know mucus is already in our body, and it's a part of our physical structure, it's a part of our makeup. But so what the body does to protect itself when it realizes that it's been contaminated, basically, it produces more mucus in order to try to combat whatever foreign virus or foreign thing that may be in the body at that time. So, with this excessive buildup of mucus, it starts to build up in different places. It can build up in your lungs, which causes bronchitis, which causes emphysema, COPD, and things like that. It builds up in your heart, which creates blockages. It causes your heart to have to work harder, which is how strokes come about. It can build up in your brain, which causes mental instability, or what people call insanity, mental issues. It can build up in your joints, which is where gout and joint pain comes from. I speak on a lot the fact that I'm 33 now and I literally have no joint pains. Now, I do still consume meat. I am almost completely alkaline, almost completely vegan. But at this present moment, I still consume meat. But because I also consume vegetables that are high in the minerals that we need for our bodies to thrive and grow, I have absolutely no joint pains. I have been to doctor's appointments when I was still going to see doctors for annual checkups, and they would be so amazed that I have never had any surgeries, never had any sicknesses, barely caught the common cold. So that kind of let me know there that we were living in a society that has become immune to sickness. They accept sickness as if it's a part of life, and it's really truly not. And if you know better, you definitely should do better, because who wants to live their life just knowing that they're going to get sick one day, just knowing that whatever new virus that they set out, they won't be able to combat it. Nobody wants to live like that, and we shouldn't have to live like that, because we were not created to live that way. All it takes is a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of understanding, knowing your body, understanding your body, learning your body. So um, that's basically all that he wanted to do, teach people to step back from the world and look inside yourself. So that's what I do today. I would say somewhat carrying on his legacy. I know there's many people in this industry now, which has not even been solidified as an industry, honestly. I went through my herbalist training and I got a certificate. I got a certificate which was emailed to me after I completed I guess, the exam portion of it. I still have to do an externship in which I plan to um, move to St. Lucia for a year, hopefully starting next year. Still working on it, but I will keep you posted. Nothing really would change. Just me and my family will be in St. Lucia for a year, if not longer. I'll still be doing the same work. Just know that I have to ship your products from St. Lucia or do whatever services I do now. I do it online, through social media, phone calls. Nothing will really change. So I digress. Um, but there's not really an industry for herbalists right now. There's no letters that go behind your name once you complete this course, which is understandable because it's not fit for the reality that has been created for us. They don't want you to know that you're like a chameleon. You can regenerate every part of your body. The only thing that's stopping you is your mind, is the way that you think. And ultimately, what you put inside yourself. That saying that you are what you eat is completely true. We just have to understand that and live by that. It's some people that completely completely in tune and educated to this information that I'm giving you all now, and they still continue to live their lives in a way as if they have no idea that eating the meat excessively is bad for you. Not eating leafy green vegetables will cause you to be backed up. Having bowel movements every day, literally having bowel movements after every meal, is extremely important. Otherwise, the waste backs up in your intestines, then parasites, worms begin to grow, and you just have a nesting place for parasites, for predators. So we're going to, and I'm on the rise, we're going to be breaking down just how we live our lives, period. The whole, the whole purpose of me creating this channel is to assist those who are ready to elevate, assist them in elevating. What most people these days call a spiritual guide. Elevation is all about elevating the spirit, awakening the spirit. That is how elevation. That's how elevation occurs. So, um, I know I'm probably going to do maybe an hour series every time I come on. Tonight, I'm not gonna do an hour just because it's kind of late. I know there's not many people up. Some people have work. I have work in the morning. So, yeah, it's just going over some things that I will be discussing in my videos. I just wanted you all to have a great understanding of what I do. And like I said, there are many people out here doing what I do right now. So, one person that I do want to mention besides Alfredo Bowman is the Honorable Priest Kalash. He is um, based in St. Lucia. He is a great, 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 great teacher. So I will say this as well. I might as well add this in. How did I get on the subject of studying the work of herbalism or the work of Dr. Sebi? Because, like I said, that's initially how I came across even the thought of becoming an herbalist. So, my freshman year of college, 2006, I was enrolled at Jackson State University pre-med. I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. I knew that I wanted to heal people. I wanted to help people. And I thought that's what doctors did. So one of my professors, actually my university success professor, um, was a doctor. And he would kind of hint at how doctors, basically, just put it in layman terms, doctors don't really heal anything. If your body doesn't want to heal, if your mind doesn't tell your body to heal, a doctor can give you as many chemically imbalanced drugs as they want to, but you will not heal. That's basically what he would tell us every other day in a nutshell. When a doctor goes from working in a hospital making upwards towards $100,000 a year and then comes down to being a professor at a college, probably making $75,000, $80,000 a year, what a nurse would make, and they have a PhD, something drastic, something something very dramatic has happened in this man's life to make him make such a drastic change in his occupation. So he became very fond of me. He would always tell me that he liked my train of thought. I didn't think straight or inside the box like most people. My answers were always outside of the box. Anytime I did a project, it was always elaborate and very detailed. And that drew him to me for some reason. Well, I'm not going to even say some reason. I know everything is divinely done. Everyone is divinely created. So I tend to catch myself saying, I don't know why this, I don't know why that, when I know absolutely know why. But it's just a habit, a worldly habit. So he was drawn to me and he would teach me extra little things that after class that he wouldn't disclose to anyone else. So he asked me, had I heard of Dr. Sebi before? And I told him no. Who's Dr. Sebi? He's a famous doctor. What did he do? And he was like, no, he wasn't actually a doctor per se. and then blah, 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 blah. This totally interests me. Um, I'm gonna throw this in there. Keep in mind, I'm a preacher's kid, so I definitely believe in miracles. I believe in wonders. I believe that people are anointed and placed in this world for a purpose. And Dr. Sebi or Alfredo Bowman was definitely one of those people. So as he's pretty much breaking down or giving me the information about what he did and who he was, like I literally swelled up with tears. I was like, oh my gosh. And they killed him for wanting to help people. They killed him for wanting to teach people. And then I'm always pro black to the day I die. So I was like, it was because he wanted to help his own people, right? So I mean, his eyes just bucked up, like exactly, precisely. And why do you think that is? And we had such an in-depth conversation that day that I knew that that was my path. And another coincidence I'll say is I know that my family has African and Native American lineage. My grandmother's mother's maiden name was Bowman. And as I said, Dr. Sabi's name is Alfredo Bowman. So I always have this feeling that I may be a part of his lineage in some type of way. That's why his work resonated with me so much. Maybe that's why I got so emotional at that time. And still, when I'm talking to my clients, I get emotional when I speak about him or as I'm teaching about um, teaching people the things that Alfredo Bowman himself were teaching. Like I still get emotional at times. It's like I feel his spirit closely to me when I speak on him. Sometimes even when I'm just studying or going over things. So this was something that grabbed my attention. I knew right then and there that I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. Like I looked at doctors like, what a disgrace. Like you're little, they literally walk around the hospital. And I know this because I worked in clinical settings for, I'll say 4 years before I started working for the government. So I would see doctors come in and out acting like they're God, like they would treat their nurses so like disgracefully, and they would refer to the patients in a way that was sickening, like they're lab rats or just like their pets, and it would annoy my soul. So, I mean, I did it for 4 years and I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of the medical field, well, clinical medicine per se, and I started doing like casework for the federal government for a few years um, while I started my business. So, I mean, the things that I saw, the things that I um, had to be a part of, like I don't know, I still have regrets to this day, although I didn't know better. And then once I did know better, I did, like I said, pursue another career path. But some of those things still sit in the back of my mind and it makes me emotional. But more than anything, it makes me want to go harder in the work that I'm doing now because I don't want my people to continue to go through these cycles where we're depending on other people who are trained by other people who are um, literally just in it to make a buck. They don't care whether you live or die. They don't care whether you're healthy or sick. As long as you believe that you have to depend on them to be well and you're shelling out money to go to doctor's appointments, you're shelling out money to have your kids vaccinated, which vaccinations is another topic. You're depending on them just for your all around well being. And it's so lazy and it's so reckless of ourselves to depend on someone else for that. Like, how lazy do you have to be to sit around and eat the things that you know you shouldn't be eating, become obese, and you're close to dying to the until the point that you want to go see a doctor and see if they can fix you? No. Start while you're well. Maintain your wellness while you're well. Um, so I think that them creating this cycle for us where we depend on them for our wellness, um, in this society, our people, our culture, we're depending on other people for a lot of things, even other than, excuse me, other than wellness. So that is kind of disturbing to me, and that's one of the things that I want to teach my people to get away from, depending on other people for your well-being, not even just your physical health, just your well-being, period. We should be growing our own food. We should be making our own clothes. We should be creating our own entertainment. We should not have to give to other people to get the things that we can give to ourselves. And it just so happens that my main focus is wellness. That's what I've always done. It's what I've always loved. My mother was a nurse. So, following in her footsteps, my grandmother took care of everybody. So that's just something that's in me. And it's all for a purpose, it's all for a reason. On my father's side, um, most of the men in the family were pastors. So I think that um, my ability to teach and reach people spiritually comes from that side, and my ability to pretty much heal or teach people to heal or want to care for people, want to nurture people, comes from my mother's side, which, I mean, it created a great balance within me, to have both of those um, very powerful lineages in my blood. So basically, what I'll be doing from here on out is just discussing things like, next week I'll be talking about going further into the conversation of mucus, how it's created. We'll speak more, or I'll talk more about the mucus membrane and exactly its exact function, what happens when it becomes overactive, and what we can do to dissolve mucus once we've gotten ourselves to the point where um, we have a buildup of it, which, as I said, leads to disease. We'll be talking about complete healing, mind, body, and soul. We'll be talking about exactly what dieting is. I don't really like to refer to nutrition as dieting, but I know a lot of people do. But I'll say I'm going to discuss nutrition a little bit more. I'm going to discuss our bodies, our mouths, our intestines, as humans compared to those of animals, and which animals that we're more um, closely related to, just judging by our similar digestive systems. So those are just a few things that we'll be talking about in my next video. And I'm going to talk about everything from the soul, energy, the universe, God, the moon, astrology, like just everything that makes up our being, everything that we are, and everything that we should be. So um, that's pretty much it for tonight. I just wanted to touch base on those four important topics right now, because I think that kind of jump starts basically what I'm here to do and the message that I'm here to give. So, um, recap, what is an herbalist? An herbalist is someone who uses herbs to teach people to heal or regenerate themselves. What is alchemy? Alchemy is the ability to transmute or um, transfer energy or materials from one thing to another. Um, What is disease? Disease is basically when we decide to live a lifestyle that's not conducive to the makeup of um, our physical system, the way that we operate, the way that we were created to operate. So once you go against nature, once you go against the creator, once you go against who you are, it leads to disease. And disease is caused by living that type of life, and then your body activating its defense system to correct the issue. So it produces a large amount of mucus. Who is Dr. Sebi or Alfredo Bowman? He is one of the most renowned herbalists known in the United States, um, who proved in a court of law in New York State that he had cured several diseases and disorders that were at that time considered terminal. If you want to do some research on him yourself, you will find that from then to now, a lot of those things that he said that he cured, that they were debating him on, they now have cures for them, but they're the cures that they created from his methods. So, of course, if you're in the medical field or know anything about it, especially pharmaceuticals, you will have the understanding that every drug that is created by the pharmaceutical company takes elements or components of natural elements, and they mix them with chemicals in order to combine certain things, in order to bring it to its solid form, in order to preserve it. They add all these chemicals, and the chemicals overtake the minerals, which leads to other illnesses or other sicknesses, while it's healing the initial sickness, if it's even healing the initial sickness. There are some drugs that people take that does absolutely nothing. It may make them feel better for a few hours a day, but it's not healing them in any aspect. But it definitely is creating more problems. So yeah, that's who Alfredo Bowman is. I encourage everyone who comes across this video to research him more in depth, research his practice, research his beliefs, research just everything that he was teaching to his people. And I want you to not just research it, but receive it and apply it. So that is it for I'm on the Rise tonight. I thank everyone who subscribes. I thank everyone who likes my videos, everyone who just comes for the knowledge and understanding that I'm giving. All praises to the Most High, and be blessed. See you next week.